Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the DeKalb Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for this September 5th, 2023. Could we start with a roll call, please?
Becker?
Here.
O'Flaherty? Here. Pena Graham? Here. Stoker?
Here.
Wright?
Here.
McMahon?
Here.
Chair Maxwell?
Here.
7 present.
Thank you. We'll move to the approval of the agenda. If there are any additions or deletions, if not, I will ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by Becker. May I have a second? Seconded by Wright. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We will go to the minutes of August 21st, 2023, if there are any additions or deletions. If not, I will ask for a motion to approve.
I move we approve to accept the minutes as presented from August 21st.
Moved by McMahon. May I have a second?
Second.
Who was it?
Stoker.
Oh. Seconded by Stoker. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. This is the public participation portion of the program. If anyone has anything that they would like to speak to that is not on the current agenda, you may come forward now. If not, we will move to new business. We have a public hearing, a petition by Stephen Golden for approval of the annexation rezoning from the SFR1 district to the PDI district, and a concept plan for approximately 130-acre property located at the northeast corner of Peace Road and East Guerrilla Road to accommodate the construction of 4 buildings totaling approximately 1,643,000 square feet for manufacturing, packaging, distribution, and warehouse uses. I understand we have a presentation from the petitioner. If you would come forward and just state your name and address, you're more than welcome to, please.
Stephen Golden. Address is 800 Raleigh Road in Glenview.
Thank you.
And do you want me to continue, or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Mhm.
Actually, I'm just going to introduce myself, and then Nikki, who is working with us in engineering, will give you a little bit more of a detailed overview.
Wonderful, thank you.
But we're here. We've had the property since 1998 when my grandfather acquired it, and it's been farmed since then, and now we're just making changes consistent with what's happening around it, as you know.
Mhm.
And I want to thank the city team's been amazing to work with. Bill and Dan and Zach and everybody's been really quite receptive, so it's gotten us to where we are now. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm here, obviously, if any questions come up, I'll step back up.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hi.
Could you state your name?
Yep. Nikki Kammerer. I'm with RWG Engineering. Address is 975 East 22nd Street in Wheaton.
Thank you.
Our office has been retained by ownership to assist with the annexation, rezoning, and concept plan approval of the subject property. As you can see up on the aerial, the property is roughly 130 acres located at the southwest corner of I-88 and Peace Road. It extends south to Gurler and then east to Webster Road. And then if you want to switch to the next this way. So the entire parcel will be annexed into the city of DeKalb in order to start the process for future development. As you're aware, in the city of DeKalb, the zoning for newly annexed property comes in as SFR1, which is single-family residential. And as such, we're requesting the property to be rezoned to PDI, Planned Development Industrial, once annexed into the city, which is consistent with the properties to the west and south. Dan, if you could switch. So this aerial shows, the development, the adjacent development to the west and to the south that's gone in for a Candy, Facebook, and those things. So the proposed rezoning will not have a negative effect on the long-range development of adjacent properties. It's consistent with the developed adjacent properties and will allow for the undeveloped properties in the area to develop under the same zoning in the future. With proximity to I-88 right at the exit for Peace Road, PDI makes sense for the area, which is not located near any residential developments. And the proposed rezoning will have a positive impact on the adjacent property values, as it will bring new business and employment to the area. On the screen here is a potential concept site plan highlighting, a use that could be developed on the property, incorporating industrial and/or manufacturing end users. The plan allocates land for stormwater management to handle the development. There are adequate utilities to service the site, and development of the site will provide continuation of those utilities in order to serve adjacent properties. The site is set up to receive city water from the west, which will be extended across the frontage along Gurler Road for connection to future development. A large sanitary sewer pipe will be installed across Peace Road and stubbed at the site for connection and future extension. This work is being coordinated with the Kishwaukee Water Reclamation District, and annexation into the district will commence prior to building permit issuance for this property. The existing roads have adequate capacity to serve the site or will be improved with the development of the site depending on the final end user needs and approved plans. It is anticipated that development of the site will require some element of road improvements, and those discussions have already begun with city staff and will be finalized when final plan comes in for approval.
Okay, thank you. We have several people that would like to speak to this, which we'll get to shortly, but could we start with the staff report?
Sure. As Nikki mentioned, indicating the site, it's 130 acres northeast corner of Gurler Road and Peace Road, needs to be annexed. They request annexation and rezoning to planned development industrial. There's no end user at this time. They are showing on the plan 4 buildings, about 1.6 million square feet, would accommodate manufacturing, packaging, distribution, or warehouse uses. One thing that wasn't in the staff report, we looked at the building coverage when they submitted this originally, and they did revise it to reduce the size of the buildings. We looked at the building coverage or floor area ratio at the site to the west, Kraft Heinz, and the Amazon building. And they did reduce the size of the buildings a little bit to match those floor or building coverage areas. So it's pretty consistent with building coverage to those sites too. So they're showing a full access on Peace Road, one off Gurler Road and Webster Road to the east. Are showing some access there too. So once a end user comes in, this is a concept plan that's being asked to be approved. Once a preliminary plan for an end user comes in, then they'll come back to the commission, probably do an amendment to the agreement, have a public hearing, have review by the preliminary and final plan that would show who the end user is, more details regarding the plan in terms of parking and access, stormwater, although they do accommodate that on the site that you do see. So we're comfortable with approving the concept plan with the recommendations at the back for the development standards. For rezoning, they do meet the criteria that's spelled out in the staff report. Comp plan from 2022 indicates industrial for this site. It's consistent with what the other development, of course, that's going out there along Gurler Road in the past few years with the Kraft Heinz, Ferrera, Amazon, and Meta. This will be a big advantage in terms of economic development. Again, it's a good location right off the tollway. It's meeting all the other criteria. The utilities will be extended to the site, as described by Nikki. Once an end user comes in, we'll get a traffic study done. With that end user, we'll know more details, of course, and determine what necessary roadway improvements will be required with that project. As of the posting of the agenda last Thursday, we didn't receive any written comments. We did receive written comments from Paul Borick, Director of the DCDC, who's here tonight, and copies were provided to the Commission. He indicates support for the project. So we'd recommend approval. There's a sample motion prepared that approves the concept plan that you see. Also, the permitted uses of manufacturing, packaging, distribution, warehouse, and accessory uses not exceeding, and we just increase the square footage a little bit. Let's put a max on the square footage. Setbacks, all the zoning standards per the PDI and heavy industrial district, except the setbacks which were laid out here, parking 100 feet from Peace Road, 75 feet from Gerler, building setback 175 feet from Peace and 150 feet from East Gerler Road. The concept plan you see reflects that, and it's also consistent with the other projects on Gerler Road in terms of setbacks for the parking and buildings. So the setbacks are similar to those projects also. And as mentioned, a preliminary and final development plan would be required to be submitted, reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So you will see this again. And a traffic study would be required at that time too. So that's the report. Any questions? I'd be happy to answer them. We have Zach Gill, our city engineer, too, who could answer any questions.
Thank you.
Get some more.
We have 3 people that would like to speak to this. Could we start with Deb Ritter of Gerler Road? Could you come forward, please?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I am a resident. I am living at the south side of Gerler Road, so I am impacted as a property owner. We moved out there in 1990, and so we were told then that it would be about 40 years before the county would decide to do something different. So it's 33 years roughly. I am concerned as a resident. I can see both sides of this and how this family has been waiting to develop the property. I guess my concern is just how far, my husband isn't here, he's disabled, but he was reading that the county was actually looking to extend the industrial zone all the way up to Perry, over east as far as Somonauk, and then to 23. And I'm like, whoa, you know, that's their goal, is all of that to be industrial. So to me, that's a scary thought. And I would really like them to think about that. Other than it impacting my property value, which right now I have all the lights from Meta, and sometimes it looks like stadium lights. They're not environmental friendly. There are solar powered ones there, but I have to tell you, a lot of times they have these big giant lights on. So that's a concern of mine, the lighting. I think the landscaping is a huge thing. I wouldn't want to be staring at big, huge dirt hills like they put on 23 for those homes so that they wouldn't have to look at it. I'm happy that you mentioned you're doing a traffic study, because I was concerned about the bottleneck going to Peace Road, having another opening. We now have Kraft and Heinz that are coming out at the south part there, southeast corner of the Chicago West division. So there's just so much going on there. I'm like, whoa, that is a lot of traffic. It's a lot of constant rebuilding the road, and they're just still now repairing a piece that was really beat to snot by the trucks. So these are just some of my concerns. I just hope we can do the right thing there and it doesn't create a lot more expense. I'm not sure where the money the taxpayers put up, if this goes into rebuilding the road, fixing the road, where that money comes from. And maybe someone can address that tonight. Maybe there's a money pot that's set to the side after this, piece of property is invested in to help with that. I don't know. I'm just, a ordinary resident here in DeKalb, but I thank you for listening to me and my concerns, and I'm hoping that this will be a workable situation for all of us.
Thank you, Deb.
Deb,
And I encourage you to come back at the again, the secondary meetings when this becomes fully fleshed out as well. Perhaps Dan and either you, one of the two of you, could discuss
Yeah.
the funding for the roads.
And I didn't catch, Ms. Ritter, where you exactly live on Gerler?
We're directly south. We are 11984 Gerler Road, so we are a pond away from Meta. We're on the same side as Meta, so we're directly south and east.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay. So just a few things. In terms of expansion of industrial, We do, the aerial doesn't show everything, but in terms of our comp plan going south, we just go down to Kesslinger for any future development. We don't go further south of that. That's unincorporated. To the east, I think it's a few more parcels it doesn't show here, but we have a boundary agreement with Cortland, but that's, in our comp plan, does show industrial for this area to the east here. I would imagine going forward that future development will probably occur more along Peace Road or maybe south of Meta site, but those are anticipated to be future development. I'm not sure when, but we do have a boundary agreement with Cortland, and we just go far as south as Kesslinger. We don't go down to Perry Road in terms of any city future development plan for. Lighting, we do have lighting requirements in our UDO for industrial in terms of a maximum foot candles or brightness for lights that they're required to show. Industrial does allow higher lighting than regular commercial residential, of course, but that is a requirement that they'll have to comply with. Berms are, landscaping is required to screen parking and buildings, and berming can be used for that. The one that Meta is used down at Route 23 was something they kind of proposed with the and concerns by residents down there on Route 23. So I don't anticipate a berm that high for a project like that, like this. It's not quite as large as Meta, of course. And I'll let Zach Gill kind of talk about roadway improvements and how that looked at with the traffic study.
Yes, so two aspects to it. If you're talking about what would be done with any potential development here, that again would be based on the traffic impact study, and that would be any new roadway improvements such as widening, turn lanes, so on and so forth. That won't be known until there's an end user. What was referenced going on in Gurley right now is a similar situation. Kraft Heinz required that we actually put a second westbound lane on there. That's what's being installed right now while it's being widened. So those are completely completed up front by the developer. Cost for engineering, construction, so on and so forth. Doesn't come out of the city of DeKalb taxpayer pockets. But it is a valid point of in 15 years or so, when those are at the end of their life cycle, the city would be responsible for the resurfacing effort. Right now, our sole source of funding for that is motor fuel tax. So
Okay,
that's,
thanks, Scott.
yeah.
I don't know if the applicant wanted any comments or.
Did you have any other comments? Okay.
I could generally speak to the road capacity too, that obviously is well built up. The roundabout there, the roundabout operationally is vastly superior to any sort of signalization and is not anywhere near its threshold for capacity. So that'll continue to function very well, particularly with the right bypass lane that exists and the existing westbound lane. The one new wrinkle with this development is it's the first one that would have access or is considered to have access off of Peace itself. Kraft Heinz, as you've noticed, you've been out there, does not have direct access to Peace on there. So that'll be a new wrinkle, and a traffic study will determine if they would need, at the most, it'll probably be a left turn lane. So as trucks come off the tollway headed south, they may need a left turn lane there to stage and queue. We already have the right turn lane to enter the tollway, so any trucks leaving this site or shift change personal vehicles would essentially be slipping right into an existing right turn lane or right on the tollway and out of here. So,
Thank you, gentlemen. Deb, I hope that at least answered some of your questions. And like I said, I highly encourage you as this comes up to continue to follow it, because as Dan had said, this is a preliminary plan, and so we'll have a lot more input as we get further down the road. We have a second person that would like to speak. Mario, I'm sorry, is it A. Delgado? Oh. Welcome, sir. If you just state your name and address for me.
Yeah, my name is Mario Delgado, and then live 144440 Western Road, and I got a couple of concerns by the Ponzi building on the northeast of the building.
Dan, could you go to the, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that one right there. My concerns, the water, you guys want to hard. I saw you plan the water, you're gonna push water to on Wester, or how you gonna do the dishes north, south and north.
I don't know where those retention ponds.
Zach can describe the stormwater.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm. All the storm sewer water and drains.
It would be way too early to speculate on where
Right.
any sort of detention or outfall is gonna be at this point. This
Mm-hmm.
is purely conceptual.
And they may not even, to the extent they may not even be in those positions, I mean, but,
Well, see, I see the street, the house right there is close to your pond, right there. I'm gonna be there close, like 40, 30 feet away from, I just got a little concern of the ponds and the landscape stuff. Like all the noise,
Ponds will operate.
trees.
Yeah, the ponds will operate per our stormwater ordinance. It will follow its natural outcourse as of now, which is to the tollway, I believe. So there would be an independent outfall sent directly to the tollway, released at the appropriate rate as controlled by law. So there would be no water coming over towards that home. Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of drainage, old drainages run to all, and then there's a lot of old drainage.
Yeah, there's a lot of drain
years.
tiles out there. There's the drain tile survey, we're aware of
Mm-hmm.
them. Yep, those all get incorporated, they get intercepted, taken into that pond. The volume of that pond calculates the fact that we've intercepted what we call this pass-through drainage.
Okay.
So that's all taken into account. Again, we're nowhere near this. This is simply, shapes on a 2D map right now. There's been no hard engineering. There are rules that regulate that. I interpret and oversee those and haven't granted a variance yet, so.
We'll see how much traffic is gonna go in that road.
How much traffic is going to go on the road? Again, that will depend on what the.
Construction time,
That depends on what the end user is. If it's something
Okay.
like Facebook, that's a data center, they employ maybe a few hundred people. Now they're under construction, that's a different story. If it's something like Farrar, where they're logistics based, then it's a different story. So
Okay.
that would all be focused towards Peace Road. That's why we would contemplate that access for them.
okay.
So
How about our wells? We're in wells. You guys, when you dig a building, you go deep for the dead man? How deep you guys go? For the
not,
concrete?
not to
for
the water
building?
table.
no, we wouldn't go that deep. You're talking about just footings and foundations for the facility?
You
Yeah.
wouldn't go that deep, affecting
No.
the wells. So
No.
there'd be no
No.
effect on your well.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
And they'd be hooked to city water. And we do require landscaping around the perimeter of the site.
Oh, okay.
So there'll be screening
Yep.
between the pond and your residents.
See, when
And
you
all
see
along
that
the
green
way,
it is, you see all green coming down, north, south? What's gonna be there, trees or?
Yeah, landscaping,
Landscaping,
trees,
mhm.
bushes.
How
There's a
how
certain-
many trees they're gonna go there for square feet of the building?
It's based on the distance, I think it's, what is it, one tree and like half a dozen bushes for every 30 feet, so measure that distance. It's going to be a good line of landscaping along there, too.
Okay. 'Cause a couple of places, like I work for landscaping, they may allow, if, like Chicago, they build buildings. They probably want like 200 trees for, for how big the building is.
It's not based on building, it's based on the
Yeah, it's
frontage.
the frontage.
So the idea is to screen the perimeter of the site, and also there's landscaping requirements
Oh,
for
okay.
the parking lot interior for screening, landscaping the interior. Where you show the green is shown here, there'll be landscaping within
Yeah,
those areas.
because we plan 270 trees for a building, and the city want more out of Chicago. We work for CP, Canada Pacific, and they build more, they want more trees, because the building, the more blacked out they put, the more trees they want.
Yeah, what you see, the landscaping that's out in front of Ferrera,
Oh,
around
okay.
there, would be similar to that, same standards.
Oh, okay.
And I think the landscaping that you're probably referring to is for an urban property rather than an industrial property?
The rest of property.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as they alluded to, we have the standards for both, and they've been adequate up until now. To the point that Ruth had too, I would encourage you to continue and come back as this flushes out a little
Yeah.
bit more, because obviously, it may be entirely different as to how you feel it affects your property then, but you can certainly make your voice made that you would like to
Yeah.
see, additional landscaping in that corner or something, but yeah, at this point, everything is speculative.
Oh, okay. Because all the, I got two dishes, the south, east, and west. All the water's gonna, you guys gonna fix all that drainage all the way to the end?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've done it for every other industrial
Yeah.
project around here, and
Okay.
they all have retention ponds of the same fashion. We've never had any problem with them, as Scott noted, and I mean, we haven't permitted any variances from it, so the stormwater management system as it stands, I think, is probably pretty darn good.
They're gonna build soon?
As soon as they can find somebody, I'm sure. I'm sure that they would hope sooner than later, but
Well, that's just my concern, just a couple, and I'll come the next meeting to see.
yeah,
if
please do,
there.
please do.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Have a
Thank
good
you very
night.
much for your time. I appreciate your concerns. And lastly, we have Paul Borick. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. As Executive Director of the DeKalb County Economic Development Corporation, I want to bring my support and the support of our organization for this annexation, rezoning, and concept plan approval recommended tonight. The mission of DCEDC, our organization, is to expand and diversify the economy in order to increase prosperity and improve the quality of life in DeKalb County and its communities. We found that one of the best ways to do this is to promote and facilitate industrial development. In addition to job creation, industrial investment brings significant new tax base, tax revenue to the city and the school district and the other taxing bodies in DeKalb and elsewhere throughout the county for different developments. And we appreciate the investment by the Golden family in this property and in improving the property by zoning and annexing it and taking it one step closer to bringing it to market for actual industrial development. So for these reasons, I respectfully request the Planning and Zoning Commission to support this project so it can move forward, so that they can prepare it for development by annexing it to the city and zoning it appropriately and pursuing conceptual plans with potential suitors, companies or brokers or investors looking for sites. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions? If there is anyone else who would like to speak to this matter that has not submitted a request, please note now. If not, I'll close the public hearing and open it up to comments and questions from the commission.
So just so I'm clear, what we're doing here tonight is we're approving the annexation and the rezoning. There might be 6 buildings on that lot, there might be 4 buildings, we don't know.
Yeah, you're approving the annexation and the rezoning to PDI, and then also the concept plan you see up on your screen. And that includes the development standards, Exhibit B, so it's a certain number of uses, a maximum square footage, setbacks that are established in there, and then a requirement that they come back with a preliminary final plan, and probably involve an amendment to the annexation agreement, which will kick in a public hearing, and that would kick in the notification to surrounding owners, so you get another notice, the ones that got them. As mentioned, there's no end users, so once the end user comes forward, they're probably not going to build it like this. Maybe 2 buildings, or maybe 5 small ones. I'm not sure, but these are the standards, and if they have to comply with those, and they'll come back with more detail and show the detail that's, some of the questions that have come up regarding this. So, yep, it's annexation, rezoning, and a concept plan approval.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, the full expectations we'll see this at least once or twice more as we get closer to development, so.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, I will ask someone to motion to approve.
I can make a motion. Based upon the submitted petitions and testimony presented, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission forward its findings of fact and recommend to the City Council approval of the rezoning upon annexation from the SFR1 Single Family Residential District to the PDI Planned Development Industrial District for a 130-acre property located at the northeast corner of Peace Road and East Gurler Road, for the construction of 4 buildings not exceeding 1,645,000 square feet to accommodate manufacturing, packaging, distribution, and warehouse users per the concept plan as listed in Exhibit A and subject to the plan development standards listed in Exhibit B.
So motion by McMahon, may I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Becker, may I have a roll call, please?
Becker?
Yes.
O'Flaherty?
Yes.
Pena Graham? Yes. Stover?
Yes.
Wright?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Maxwell?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for coming. Staff reports?
Yeah, just briefly, the next meeting is September 18th. Meet here at the library. 2 hearings that night, which you've got sent links to. For background, the school district submitted a special use permit for the former NIU School of Nursing. They have a lease on that property at Normal and Ridge. They're going to keep the building and expand it. It's a special use permit. Second hearing will be for DeKalb County Community Gardens, rezoning a site on North Annie Glen. That's vacant on the east side between Twombly and Ridge for their community health, education, and food center, and greenhouses and accessory uses. So they're going to rezone that for that. So 2 hearings coming up, and the last council meeting, they did approve the special use and plat for the duplex lot split on Chestnut. And after the vote, the council did mention before, maybe streamlining that process a little bit, where we'd probably not require special use. Since the ones we've approved, nobody objected to it. It's pretty smooth. We, encourage ownership over rental in those situations, probably better. So we'll look at a text amendment, maybe come through late year, early next year, that would make it remove the special use requirement and make the platting just more administrative approval. So
Sure.
it's something the commission would not see, but we saw a pattern where they're consistently approved and really no issues have come up with them. But we still have all the standards that would be required, like separate utilities that would stay in the ordinance.
course.
But just not the hearing, not the plat review by the commission or council. But, so we'll take a look at that. That's
Yeah,
the
hopefully
direction
that
from
will
the
encourage
council.
more people to apply for it too.
Yeah, not discourage people.
Mhm.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from the commission? No? All right. If nothing else, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Moved by O'Flaherty, seconded by Wright. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you for not saying no, Mr.